Hello everyone and welcome to another weather update. This afternoon we're going to be looking at today's severe weather threat as well as tomorrow's and Friday's real quick. So for today on Wednesday, May the 29th, looking at the 1630Z day one outlook. This outlook will be updated in about 20 minutes, so this will probably change just a little bit. But looking here, we do have a slight risk into parts of the central and north central US, and then looking south, we do have another slight risk there into Texas, and then we also do have a marginal risk here into parts of southeastern Texas and then into western Louisiana there. And then around that is a large marginal risk all the way from the Texas Mexico border, looking north all the way into the North Dakota and Canada border, and then headed west a little bit and then into parts of Montana and Wyoming, and then a little bit of Idaho there. Looking at our tornado threat, we do have a 2% risk here, and that is into parts of eastern Colorado and then far western Kansas there into the far western panhandle of Oklahoma, and then into a part of northeastern New Mexico there. Looking at our wind threat, we do have a 15% wind threat there all the way from the far west panhandle of Oklahoma, then all the way north into western North Dakota and eastern Montana there, and then with all these states in between. Then a 5% here from the North Dakota Canada border south into the down south to the Texas Mexico border there, and then west a little bit into Montana and parts of Wyoming there and to Idaho there. Then we have a 5% into southeastern Texas there, into parts of western Louisiana there. And looking at our hail risk, we do have a 15% risk here from the western North Dakota Canada border, and then into parts of Montana south into these states, and then into parts of eastern Colorado there, and then a 5% surrounding that. Then down south again, we have a 5% here into parts of western and central parts of western Texas. And then we also have a 15% hatch risk here, and that means a 10% or greater probability of 2-inch diameter hail or larger within 25 miles of a point in this hatch risk here. Then looking east, we do have a 5% here into southeastern Texas and into parts of western Louisiana. First, looking into parts of the northern Great Plains, we do have some storms trying to form and show up into parts of North Dakota and South Dakota, into Montana and into Wyoming there. This will be over the next couple of hours. Some of these will probably be into clusters, and some of them will be pretty strong at times and possibly severe. And then we just have generally large clusters and probably some pretty strong storms and maybe severe move into North Dakota and South Dakota later this evening into tonight, and then into Montana and Wyoming as well, and then into parts of Nebraska there. Then looking into parts of the central Great Plains today, pretty much the same thing. Into the next several hours, you'll have those storms beginning to form and develop over parts of Colorado, Nebraska, and as well as Kansas. And these will be pretty strong and possibly severe at times. And then as you go, they move east into the night, and then later tonight, these will definitely have the chance to produce possibly large hail as well as those damaging winds for sure. You'll also have to watch some of the storms that get into eastern Colorado for that brief tornado threat today. Then looking south into parts of Texas and Louisiana, looking at West Texas first. On the 18Z HRRR, you do have some storms becoming more isolated storms, forming into West Texas, and some of these will be pretty much just supercells, probably pretty long-lived, and they'll start to form over the next couple of hours possibly, and then probably will weaken quite a bit by later this evening into tonight. Then looking into Texas, looking into Louisiana right now, you do have some storms ongoing across parts of northern Louisiana, and then as they move east, they'll weaken as they get to about Mississippi there. Then looking back into eastern Texas, you do have some storms, some isolated into parts of southeastern Texas there over the next several hours, and those will strengthen and then probably try to weaken later this evening into tonight over southeastern Texas. Now looking at tomorrow's outlook for Thursday, May the 30th, we do have a large slight risk here from southeastern Colorado, then to the southeast into parts of Oklahoma and into Kansas and Texas there. Around that is a large marginal risk, mainly just in parts of the central U.S. We do have a large 2% tornado risk pretty much from southeastern South Dakota and then southwest a little bit here, then to the southeast into Texas and Louisiana there. Looking at our wind risk, we do have a large 15% wind risk right here, pretty much from southeastern Colorado to the southeast into parts of Texas and into Oklahoma, as well as into southwestern Kansas there. Around that is a large 5% risk from central and southern Texas all the way north into parts of to southeast South Dakota. Looking at our hail risk, we do have a large 5% risk here in parts of the central U.S. and then a 15% risk here from about southeastern Colorado and western Kansas into the panhandle of Oklahoma, northeastern New Mexico there, into the panhandle of Texas, down south into central Texas, and we do have a 15% hatch risk here, and this hatch risk means a 10% or greater probability of 2-inch diameter hail or larger within 25 miles of a point in these this hatch risk here with the dashed lines as well as the black outline there. So looking at back at the 18Z HRRR, you will have an MCS that tries to get going and develop into Oklahoma early tomorrow morning, and then as that moves southeast, it'll push through Oklahoma and then into parts of Texas there. And then on the 18Z HRRR, it does show several quite a few storms all the way from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle south into parts of western Texas there. And then as you move east, you kind of have an MCS that tries to form there, and then you'll have to watch that for that wind risk tomorrow, as well as that brief tornado risk as well. Looking farther north into the central Great Plains, we do have storms that begin to form early tomorrow afternoon, and then they will strengthen quite a bit and as you get farther into the day, and then by probably mid to early evening, you do have quite a few clusters all the way throughout parts of Minnesota there into eastern South Dakota, even into Nebraska as well as Iowa there, and even into Kansas as well. And then still by late tomorrow evening, you're going to have several clusters and storms all the way throughout parts of Nebraska and eastern South Dakota and into parts of Iowa there, and then even into parts of Oklahoma and maybe even into parts of western Kansas and eastern Colorado there. Then going farther into the night, you're going to have many clusters go throughout mainly just the central U.S. in general, but quite a few clusters and heavy showers and storms throughout Minnesota and then into parts of Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas there. Now looking at day 3 on Friday, May the 31st, we do have a large slight risk into parts of Texas and Oklahoma and then to western Louisiana and southwestern Arkansas there. A large marginal risk outlines that. Looking at our probabilistic, that is a 15% there and a 5% outside of there, and a 15% risk is automatically a slight risk, as well as a 5% is automatically a marginal risk at this range unless something changes over the next updates of the outlook. So on Friday, the main threat will probably be, or the main thing to watch will probably be the MCS, and as you can see right here, the GFS shows kind of an MCS type event going on Friday, and you'll have to watch that as that moves through Oklahoma as well as Arkansas and Texas for sure there on Friday. This will be very, very early on Friday, and then as you get to Friday morning, you'll have to watch it as it's kind of weakens, and then as you have some instability that moves back through there in those areas, and you'll have to watch some of the areas that do have a little bit of a low-level jets as well. So looking at Friday, if you do have kind of a widespread lower 20 knots range of that low-level jet, then looking into Arkansas, you do have kind of a upper 20 to lower 30 knot low-level jet there. We'll have to watch that for that instability as you get into Friday for some of those storms. So you're probably wondering what is driving these severe weather over the next couple of days. So looking at our 500 millibar winds, this is the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and this is on the 12Z GFS. You do have that large trough in the northwest US today, and then as you have that, you do have some kind of short waves and disturbances in the flow there. And then as you go into Thursday there, you still have that main trough right out here, and possibly some disturbances down here into parts of Texas and Oklahoma. And then going into Friday, you can really see that other shortwave trough really get going over parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas, Missouri, as well as Kansas there. So that'll be really our main threat for the next couple of days. We'll have to watch this pattern for sure to see what other severe weather threats we could have later down the line. So that's going to be it for today's update. I know it was very quick, but I actually recorded a video earlier and the audio ended up not recording at all. But it was a pretty long video, so I didn't have a lot of time to record for this one. So I do appreciate all of y'all watching. I do apologize for how fast and kind of quickly put together this video was. I know it wasn't in depth really at all, but I may try to get another video out tonight, but I'm not sure. But I will probably make a video tomorrow, and that'll be regarding a severe weather threat tomorrow, as well as probably on Friday. But again, I do appreciate all of y'all watching. And real quick, I just wanted to say that the day one severe storm prediction center's outlook does update in just 4 minutes. So the day one outlook that I showed y'all earlier, that'll be this one right here still, will probably be changed by the time you watch the video. So just go to the Storm Prediction Center's website, and you'll see the latest outlook for today's severe weather. But I do appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope everybody has had and are having a great Wednesday.